Yeah, and they're probably really expensive. Let's just use them here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
In his case, he decided to use it straight out of Bastion mode, and so he had no idea which direction he was going to go in, and he's not moving, and just...
Yeah, so if you're sitting still, if I'm not mistaken, and you activate the mobile micro jump drive, you don't know where you're going to go. It's not where the nose of your ship was necessarily pointed. The only thing you know is you're going to go somewhere. Yeah.
Well, I've got Sleeper Social Club packed for this one.
I do too, which means you're going to be wrong.
Same. Which means we're all going to be wrong.
I've got a lot of friends from my uni days in the Sleeper Social Club team, and yeah, I really hope they win.
Sleeper Club. And with
Actually,
that, we should go into the match because it's ready.
And welcome back to Day 5 of the 12th Alliance Tournament. I'm Elise Randolph in the commentary booth, joined with CCP Rise, and we've got a Nest of Vipers versus Sleeper Social Club.
Yeah, and you see another Morty's Legion ship there. The Garmer, not quite as crazy as the Bargus we saw earlier, but still cool to see it. Again, some new stuff going on here, or at least some unusual stuff. We have Paladin on the Nest of Viper side. Always interesting to see what people bring with Marauders. In this case, they've got 3 Ishtars, a Scimitar, that Garmer, some Worms, and a Crow. And then Sleeper Social Club have gone with a more tinkery setup based on a Tengu and 3 Rattlesnakes.
Yeah, this Sleeper Social Club team is going to be a tough nut for Nest of Vipers to crack. These Rattlesnakes have a bunch of EHP. Maybe they can kill a Hawk, but I don't think so. Nest of Vipers came in at range, as did Sleeper Social Club, but because they came in at oblique angles, they're pretty close to one another. And this Paladin, he hasn't gone into Bastion mode yet. He's moving around. Maybe he'll go into Bastion in a second. But yes, Nest of Vipers is currently trying to break a Hawk, I guess, of James.
Yeah, I mean, those maybe are going to be the easiest targets for them to start with. Try to get those frigs out of the way. Everything else is pretty darn tanky.
Oh,
wow,
there
they
it
managed
goes.
to do
Okay.
it right away. James Arjett going down, team captain for Sleeper Social Club, right out of the gate, and he was challenging people to 1 billion-isk bets on this match in local before it started, so I'm sure that feels good for Nest of Vipers.
Yeah, what sort of drones did the Ishtars drop?
Let me have a look for you,
Because it looks like they might have dropped some sentries, and they're sort of volleying these frigates with...
Yeah,
they've
you're right.
got Curators from the Paladin, or from the Ishtars, and EM from the Paladin, so they're hitting a pretty weak resist for these Hawks. And there, it looks like, at least for James's Hawk, the Sleepers, or the Nest of Vipers team actually like synchronized their firing to just blap it through everything.
Curators dropped by the Rattlesnakes as well, and so both teams pretty comfortable to just kind of sit pretty far away from each other. Sleeper Social Club will probably stay in their little ball.
Oops. That Tengu of Sleeper Social Club drops really low there.
Wow.
That's a lot of damage coming from a Nest of Vipers right there. These Ishtars are like pure damage fit. They're shield Ishtars, so they probably got like 3 drone damage amps into lows. And oh no, this Ishtar is taking a little bit of damage itself from a Nest of Vipers team. Sleeper Social Club. I mean, if they can kill a Nest of Vipers Ishtar, then they're going to be really happy.
So close.
It is just teetering right there in structure. Oh, he's bleeding structure now. If they can get 1 or 2 more good shots on it, it's going to be gone. And there it goes. A Nest of Vipers now behind the 8 ball. They were winning on points for a while by doing that like tricky play with the sinking their damage.
Yep. There you can see the cap transfer going into that Tengu, kind of the base of this team. Man, they're still putting a lot of pressure on his tank. They actually have newts on him now as well, which is really good news. I mean, I don't know if they'll be all that significant. I'll have to see where they're coming from.
Yeah, you generally don't want to newt the Tinker logistics and shoot at the same time because he's getting a lot of cap transfers from these Rattlesnakes. But they're going to keep trying. I mean, they were getting close when they had 3 Ishtars, but I think
like
there's no chance
I
now.
like the decision by Nesta Vipers here. They've actually put the Ishtars right on top of the Sleeper Social Club team, which lets them run those newts and actually probably mitigates a lot of that sentry damage as well. If they're still using curators, which I'm going to try and find out, the curator damage will actually, be mitigated pretty heavily by them moving around so close to the drones and them having a hard time tracking.
And Kuzla in the Ishtar, he's actually tanking a little bit better than Bernardo did. So maybe that getting really close is what did it for them.
Yep.
And of course, the Ishtars probably have all their high slots filled with utility newts, or at least some of them. And it's working out. But these rattlesnakes, they can carry a lot of drones with them because they only need 2.
They can, and some of them have switched to geckos now, so that tracking issue won't be as big, but that's still, I think, a good switch for the Ishtars to force on them with no tackle on the Sleeper Social Club team.
Yeah.
They have the one painter, but they don't have any webs. They don't really have any way to make it hard for those Ishtars to mitigate damage. So I think that's a really nice play by Nesta Vipers. They're still struggling to get enough damage onto the Tengu to break it, but maybe over time the newts will play kind of take enough of a toll on him that they'll make progress.
Do you think we're going to see these Ishtars trying to do some bumps or something? Because they're
that's
sort of
always
they're
an
not,
option.
They're not going for like a ramming pattern or anything, but they could very well start doing it.
No, I think you're right. For now, they look more like they're just think that the place they're going to take the least damage is right next to them and where they can put on cap pressure. But one of the big limitations, of course, from these Tengu-based or T3-based Tinker teams is the rep range is really short and the cap transfer range is short. So that is definitely a potential option. It's just really hard to pull off.
Yeah,
and you can see also that Nesta Vipers don't have any tackle, at least no tackle close either. Which means even if they did manage to bump something out, it probably wouldn't be there for very long.
All right, so
They start going into armor
Kuzla,
now.
he's slipping a little bit. That sustained pressure from the Tinker team is sort of wearing down at Nesta Vipers right now. And the Sleeper Social Tinker Tengu, like the Tengu Logistics, he's been the primary, but we can't really see. I'm sure on the other side of the screen, this guy's having like a really, really rough time with life, but
Yep, and there's
he
a
looks
lot of
pretty
stuff.
cool from here.
He's doing good. He keeps boosting back in huge chunks after he goes low. There is things that can happen like over the long term in a fight that we can't see, like you say, like hardener overheating and the cap situation, which we can't see either. So it could change at any moment. But he's doing well for now, and it looks like they are going to take down another Ishtar. So that's a really, really big kill
This
for
is
Sleeper
a
Social Club.
strong victory for Sleeper Social Club. Maybe James was just a little bit too hubris and he just got volleyed without paying attention, but the rest of the team is doing really well.
James
in
too
spite
hubris.
of that. Yeah, super hubris.
Ishtar number 3, taking damage now. Interesting that they never went for. It seemed like they never even tried the scimitar. I guess without any ability to control range. Just thinking that maybe it'll be easier for them to.
Yeah, the
get through the
curators against the
Ishtars.
scimitar is really tricky. A scimitar has a huge EM resist, and the curators do EM damage.
Third
For now-
Ishtar down.
Yep, Nesta Vipers has nothing left in the tank. It's just a matter of time to see how much of the rest of the team they'll lose. Looking at the attack bar of both teams, Sleeper Social Club actually has a pretty big attack bar, but they've never really applied it. So I have a feeling this Paladin is going to be fine for the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, probably so. They'll probably take out some of this side support, but Nesta Vipers. I mean, who knows if it's luck, but I feel like this is a really bad type of setup for them to run into.
Yeah.
Splitting your team in half with the Paladin means that the side team often is kind of weak enough that, like, they don't have links here, for instance. So
yeah, that's a huge lacking of the Nesta
they're a
Vipers
little more
team.
exposed to a team like this, which usually struggles to come up with quite as much damage as the full teams.
Yeah.
So that's nice for Sleeper Social Club to kind of have an easier time breaking through.
So this setup from a Nesta Vipers, the one thing it can do very well is it's really resistant against dams, because the Paladin, when it goes into Bastion mode, cannot be damped. It cannot have any EWAR applied to it at all. So these Ishtar just drop drones, assign it to the Paladin, and the Paladin can go blap city. But
I would think the Nesta Vipers team would have a much better shot against teams like the Caracol and Cerberus team we saw a few matches ago. That really relied on EWAR and didn't have a lot of Logi and wanted to kite. It does really well against that. But
strangely enough, I think they wanted to see an armor team here, even though they banned all of the armor Logis. But their scimitar is now sort of eating it. These rattlesnakes apparently could have killed the scimitar anytime they wanted.
It is very optimistic to have Guardian and Eros and hope for an armor team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they would have been pretty happy.
It would have been really
see...
good for an armor team. Like, that's what they wanted to see. But
I don't know. I think they would have been happy to see a kiting shield team rather than a Tinker shield team. If they would have gotten like a shield Tila kite team, I think with a full lineup, they would have been a lot happier because they could have picked it apart a little bit at a time instead of having to crack this really tough tank. But
Do you think maybe it was just sort of like a mind game that they tried to do with the bans, or do you think they had something in mind that they wanted to see?
I really don't know. I mean, it's really hard to think that they could ban Guardianeros and not really want to face shields.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that says obviously,
Yeah.
and there could be some other reason, some specific setup or something, but I have to think that they just thought shields would be good for them, that that would lead people into a slightly lighter tanked, more skirmishy type team that they would...
Or a finesse team or something like that, yeah.
But I'm not sure. I mean,
Well, either way,
it's hard
Nesta
to, read,
Vipers,
hard to read the bans all the time. They're
not
can
going
be
to
for a
have
lot of
to.
reasons.
They're not going to have to worry about bans much longer because this is their last match. They will be eliminated. Sleepers Social Club with their Rattlesnake Tinker will move on.
Yeah.
Pretty good showing, actually. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen Tinkers fail horribly in the first 2 weeks.
It's
Earlier
definitely-
today, it did okay, but like these guys, you think it's a risky move to bring a Tinker, or?
I mean, a bit, but I think overall in this format, we've seen them perform pretty strong. I think actually. I mean, any like setup archetype we've seen has definitely had its ups and downs, and I'd say Tinker teams have been fine. It hasn't been an archetype that tends to do worse. So, I mean, I think the idea of riskiness is kind of hard to apply. Like, if there was something not risky, that's what everybody would bring and they would win.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to win always. So I don't know if there's something more risky than something else, but
Either way, I'm Sleepers
Wow,
Social Club.
oh,
Well, they
never
actually
mind.
might be
Never
killing
mind,
other
it's-
stuff. They killed a worm, but I don't think they're going to break this paladin.
they killed
in
the
41
scimitar, yeah, and
seconds.
they killed the worm, but
Actually, this paladin is dying
MJD-ing.
horribly.
Interesting. He turned Bastion off. Oh my gosh! If that doesn't activate,
He's going to try an MJD.
oh, he just
Oh,
made it.
he got it right this time.
Let's see if he
He's 1 for
barely.
2.
Why did he do it?
But the drones are going to chase him, and he's probably going to die anyway, unless he bastions right now and starts
he's,
repping.
He's repping, but I think he messed it up by not being in Bastion. Like,
Yeah.
why does he need to move?
Yeah,
They've
well,
got, like,
I mean,
10
maybe he just wanted to
seconds.
prove to the world that he can MJD in a paladin and live.
I'm sad that we're losing him in general from the tournament because he's done good stuff in every match. So
Yeah. So that is over. Nesta Viper is eliminated. Sleeper Social Club move on, and I guess that's it. Back to the desk.
In Eve, the only thing worth more than ISK is trust. This October 4th in Amsterdam, Eve is real.
Welcome back to the desk, the best desk of all. I want to congratulate that paladin pilot. He is a hero.
He managed to successfully MGD.
Yeah, he did. He won my respect. That's all that matters in this tournament is my respect, I think.
Do I have your respect?
Yes, you do, CCP Rise. We've had a bit of a change here at the desk because Sir Squeeples had to be put somewhere else, ready for the commentator booth. And instead we get CCP Rise hot off the commentator booth.
Hello. I was also going to ask, who is everyone else? Chat always seems confused about who people are.
We're joined here by Apothmy and Bacchanalian.
I was half expecting you to say Matani.
I'm waiting. I'm saving a few jokes. There are a few jokes that I'm not going to just whisk out there. But what did you guys think of this match? I thought it was great. We saw your favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even, I just...
And
yeah.
it won. It's obviously a pretty good composition.
I actually think that this is the most interesting kind of environment for Tinkers we've had. I feel like there's been tournament formats in the past where they do feel a little kind of abusive or more boring, but I feel like most of the matches we've had them in this tournament have actually been pretty tense, where it's right on the line where you can almost depend on being able to tank a full team of people, but
like half the time it doesn't work out, and I like the tension there. I think it's cool how it's a completely different kind of thing, which is actually something you said the other day as well. But yeah, I feel pretty good about it, and this match was a good example.
Yeah, I'm just dreading the inevitable Tinker versus Tinker. That is going
we
to
haven't actually
be
had that yet, have we?
painful. We had one last year that was awful. So hopefully we don't have one of those this year. Or if we do, maybe they actually do manage to kill something, or someone MJD's out. That would make me happy. But
And I think it's really a credit to a team that feels confident in their Tinker and runs their Tinker well, because piloting the T3 logistics in a Tinker is possibly one of the hardest
Definitely.
things to do in all of New Eden. I mean, running a good Tinker and winning against good teams with that Tinker means that your T3 pilot is absolutely exceptional. There are very, very few players in the entire game that can pull that off well.
right, and well, that according to Elise Randolph is where the name came from. Tinker is a character in another game that will not be mentioned that requires a lot of micromanagement, and that does require an awful lot of micromanagement, cat management, and those sort of things. So.
And then when you get that alpha damage and your your armor suddenly goes to half, then I think you sweat a little bit.
A little bit,
Yeah.
for sure.
You have a little. I'm not going to finish that joke. So on to the next match. Now that I'm going to put a happy little mark here again.
Yeah, I
Because
finally got one right.
yes, congratulations.
I'm 1 for 6 now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
good enough. It's good enough.
I forgot my sheet in the other room. I guess I don't get to participate.
You can just call us nerds or whatever.
So where'd my class go?
That's
This
Squeebles
will
took it
all
with
be
him.
fixed.
All right.
This will all be fixed. Patience. Next up, we have Losaknaya Sholopen versus Easily Excited.
Yeah.
Both of these teams have surprised in the last 2 weekends, I feel.
Yeah.
Both of them got knocked off, I think, in the first weekend, I think.
That was. I remember Easily Excited versus Moist being the first day.
Yeah.
Which was an amazing match, name-wise.
Name-wise, it was fantastic. Best match of the day.
Also the best naming pairing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Losaknaya Sholopen is a very difficult team for us because it kind of forces you to do a Sean Connery impression when you say the name. Losaknaya Sholopen.
I just
Be
shaloop the whoop. I can't.
Yeah,
Now I saw it on
difficult.
Felhape, and I cannot
Shaloop the
call
whoop,
it that. So
sorry, team, you have a new name. They have banned the Getten and the Ishtar, while Easily Excited have gotten rid of the Orthrus and the Scimitar.
Orthrus.
Wow.
That's interesting.
It's a
bans.
very pointed ban. That's
They don't
indicates they know something.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
don't want missiles, I guess.
Elise will be very sad. He loves that Orthrus.
It's a pretty ship. I
A lot
like
of
it.
people do. It's extremely well designed.
Yeah,
It is.
and it's
Yes.
named
I
beautifully.
wonder who made it.
I wonder about that too, but we'll never know. So, what would be your predictions for this match? I think like both the Rattlesnake and the Guyla are left open.
Yeah.
So what
we'll
do we
probably
think?
see some of those. I
Yeah.
think that's a good bet.
Yeah.
The Orthrus ban's really interesting. Like, do you expect that when you say that means something specific, like that they know the team or someone specific on the team has a particular?
You know, that's what I'm wondering. I don't remember exactly what Shaloop brought. Was it they Easily Excited banned it, right? So I don't remember exactly what was brought by them in the past. If they were the ones that brought Orthrus, we've seen Orthrus before, or if perhaps, like I said, Easily Excited maybe has, like I said in the last match, maybe they have some sort of metagame. They know something about this team and they know what to expect from them, so they're banning it out.
I think one of the things we see when we see really kind of specific bans that are very general, like with the Orthrus ban, is that odds are, a lot of the time in practice, they'll have tested their setup and tested it, and they think it's really good, but they had one really bad match against a team that flew Orthrus against them.
That's another possibility,
And
sure.
That can be a good ban, but it could just be that you don't have enough data about it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
banning really specifically like that, you might have been able to make different decisions in the match. It might have been a close match, but because you still lost it, you became scared of that ship.
Yeah. What would the Orthrus counter then? What do you think? What do you think then?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the thing that's weird about it is the Orthrus is it's filling a role that can be done by several different ships.
Right.
So thinking that will keep them like they could replace it with. I mean, Cerberus are the obvious choice, but
Yep.
there's plenty of others that basically do the same type of long range DPS with the shield tank, and so it's definitely interesting to see that. But yeah, like you say, if they've got some particular memory haunting them, or
A very special memory.
Yeah.
I think the other reason that kind of ban can come up maybe is if you're trying to make a team that has a particular fondness for a certain ship more uncomfortable.
So if you know that when they've been practicing, Orthruses are in just tons of their setups, then if you take that out, then you force them to maybe do something they're a little less happy with.
Or equally, if you have done some good spying, as we love in EVE Online, and you know they have 5 setups, and you know you can beat 4 of the setups, but you can't beat the one they run with Orthrus,
right.
then you can try and push them away from that,
right,
even though, as you say, they can quite easily replace it, but that will be difficult. They'll have to change it depending on the point cost of what they replace it with. It can be a lot easier just to go, okay, we're just not running that setup, we'll bring this setup.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, and what you have available. I mean, if teams didn't properly plan for having an Orthrus ban, because who plans for an Orthrus ban? They don't have those ships there and fit. That's part of the thing with the banning is it's not just about having alternate setups, but it's having the alternate setups ready, fit, and to jump in them. You have half an hour or something after the bans that bam, you're in that ship now. And if you don't have it fit, or you're not in a market hub where you can quickly buy it and fit it, or you don't have an optimal fit, written down somewhere, then you're going to be forced to change your setup.
Look at the first weekend. There were 5 Gilas left in Jita for like 3 bill plus.
Jeez. That is one of the most amazing tactics to fight in the Alliance tournament. Just buy everything. But you guys will have your answers now, because the match is ready.
There's really, no joke, something happening with the boat outside.
I know, I heard the boat horn. I'm like, what is going on?
They're evacuating. The volcano is finally gone.
Welcome to Reykjavik. Your predictions, really quickly. Mine is easily excited, because I'm an easily excitable person.
Yep, same.
I am easily excited, which means they're clearly doomed to loss. That's what I've chosen. Easily excited.
I'm going with Loshsek Naya on this one, so.
Shalup de whoop.
Never going to say that. I have too much respect for our competitors.
Respect is earned. Earn it.
September 13th, the EVE Online Gaming Event. #EVE_NT. Be there or be a douchebag.
Ruffin tips it away.
Yeah, you better believe it, baby!
Welcome back, everyone, to this next match in the 12th Alliance Tournament. I'm CCB Fozzie, really glad to be here with you today, and I'm joined by Sir Squeebles now in the commentary booth.
Hello.
And we have a ridiculous and awesome match for you coming up.
We do.
This is 2 teams that one would not expect to warp in at 0 that have warped in at 0 on top of each other. Easily excited, bringing a Tinker with Rattlesnake, Tengu, Vulture, Triple Gila, and Cerberus. And why don't you tell us a little bit about this low sect?
Yeah, so Shalup de Loop has chosen to bring a Claymore, Triple Gila, double Cerberus, double Caracal, 3 Worms, and then no logistics whatsoever. So they have sort of a kitey drone comp that they've brought in at 0, and they're hoping to... Well, they're going to hope tank this Tinker out, basically.
Not having a Logi at 0 is always risky. We're a couple seconds away from the match starting. And my guess is they're going to try to use the MJD in the middle right off the bat, but we'll see how well it works out for them. And the match has now begun. So we're seeing the team start to move. I don't see MJDs yet activating.
No, but they are burning out. Shalup de Loop is kiting out really quickly. They're putting damage down. They've got rapid lights across those missile boats, which are going to do substantial damage, but they can't escape the damage from Easily Excited. So they can start burning off, but eventually that DPS is going to catch them. They have got to win this match very, very early.
That Worm taking a lot of damage, and of course he does not have logistics to wrap him up. Easily Excited making an excellent choice, going after the most vulnerable ships, basically. I'd expect Worms and Caracals to be the main targets, as without any logic to keep them alive, they're probably not going to survive too much longer.
I mean, a point could be made that if you had ASBs on the side of Loshsek Naya Shalupin, that you could potentially kite out to range and try and tank back up. It would be risky, but it doesn't seem like they're even going to execute with that because they haven't brought damps or anything to limit the projection from easily excited. So
that being
it's a little
said,
strange.
they seem to be keeping this Gila below full shield. So
Right.
they do have a lot of burst damage out of these rapid lights. But once they go into reload, there's going to be a period of time when the Gila could probably get himself repped up fully by this Tengu.
Right, and that worm of Christiana did kite out really effectively, so well flown there. He was going almost 4K, so he's probably some distance out. He mitigated a lot of damage from easily excited. But if you're in easily excited comms right now, it's probably pretty relaxed. You know, people are having a beer, saying, look, we're not going anywhere. We just have to tank the volleys off these ROMLs. We tank back up, and then eventually we break something.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter what we break.
As long as they get some points down, then they've got this long game. That being said, the Gila still taking damage.
If he dies,
Yeah, if he dies, it's definitely going to be bad news. Because, again, like we've said before, Tinker teams, once they start losing ships, tend to drop very fast. They need the cap transfers from their whole team.
Right.
They've been sending these drones out after the worms, but the worms have been all, when they get primary, doing the right thing, going 4K a second, burning out like away from the fight, but not boundary violating.
I think there are a lot of teams that have, I mean, the Gila is banned because it's so powerful. There's a shield resist bonus, those medium drones that just do so much damage. But some people have made the mistake of overestimating their speed.
Yep.
So they say, oh, the Gila, we can kill anything, we can kill frigates. Well, Christiana and Windy Killer both proved you wrong there. And
they're much better killing claymores, though.
Yeah. Funny thing you mentioned that, because right now they're killing a claymore.
Yeah. So the frigs were able to outrun these medium drones and get out of range. The claymore's dropping, but so is the Gila. That Gila is taking armor damage.
That is not good.
It's very unusual to see a ship just kind of die slowly in an armor comp. It makes me wonder about how many reps this Tengu has, whether it's a kind of atypical Tinker fit, but they did kill a claymore, so that's going to reduce DPS. But that being said, the Gila going down is actually, I think, a worse loss for easily excited.
Yeah, well, the only reason you could make a case the other direction is that Claymore had links which allowed low-sec Naya to mitigate damage with speed. So they no longer have those speed links, but they're still going to be pretty quick. They're a shield team. They've still got, hopefully, Thermodynamics 5.
And the high slots on that Claymore, I have to imagine that it was a very heavy, like it had more than 3 links.
Right.
Because we did take a close look in at it, and it had light missile launchers.
As you do.
So
yeah.
not going to do a ton of damage. Obviously, a ship that would more often be running like hams or heavy missiles. But it also didn't have smart bombs, which would have been really handy when you were surrounded by all those.
Right.
And those are 2 things that you'd often see on a Claymore that you'd expect to see. The second Gila, or the first Gila now for low sec, dropping very low, but he is also moving very fast.
And it's strange, I haven't been watching too terribly closely, but I haven't seen any shield boosting from the low-sec Naya team, which is kind of unusual. I mean, the fitting resources on the Gila, and especially on the Claymore, are more than enough to throw on an XLASB, and if you're not using Logi, I find it a little strange they go with buffer, but it seems like they have.
Yep. That being said, it's working for them.
Yeah.
That Gila got into armor, but he managed to get far enough away that the drones weren't keeping up with him. He is like taking a bit of damage, but at this point, all of the drones have actually pulled back because he got over 100 kilometers away, and they all fell behind.
And now mysteriously, this Tengu is webbed. I have no idea by what.
You would think that would be something that they would have used earlier.
Well, maybe, but bide your time. Don't play your cards all at once.
Maybe it was on one of the worms that had to run away at the beginning.
That is true. That is possible. A lot of people have used worms for tackle. But yeah, these Gilas, I mean, Ipshin and Alex Fishka, both of which I can almost pronounce, they're both getting low. They're both going to die. They can maybe kite out and come back in, but eventually they're going to die to the remaining Gila drones from easily excited.
Yeah, and if they do keep range long enough, then they just can't do any damage themselves.
Right.
They can't apply from that range. What we're actually seeing from Alex Fishna there is that the drones all went away, but he's still getting hit by some missile damage.
Right.
It looks like it's probably just the rattlesnake spamming some missiles at him, and that's going to hit the whole arena. There's no way to avoid that.
And then, I mean, to the credit of the low-sec pilots, they did a really, really good job piloting their ships as best they could. The mistake was bringing the ships that they did